The views expressed by our guests in the following video are solely the opinions of our guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and or opinions of the Ola 7 podcast show. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello guys, welcome to yet another exciting episode of your favorite show on the spot. And on this show, we interview all of the most important personalities in the business, entertainment, sports, and politics. You name them, and we have them on this platform. My guest today is a prominent Zimbabwean comedian, actor, a motivational speaker, musician, and also professional event master of ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Nigel Tha, well known as Nigel Tha Slick Pastor. Babamunini Nijo. He's here with us. Timbotara now. Timbotara say, welcome, Babamunini Nijo.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Exactly.
All the time I was watching the interviews you're doing.
Yeah.
Kwacha ndishedzori ni
Mauya
studio kunyowani ndibvouya mufundisi wayo kuzoblessa. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much.
I know it is my pleasure actually to be hosting you, my brother, and you're doing very well. I've seen that you are doing a series. New series. What is the name?
The Chosen One.
The Chosen One. Yeah,
yes.
You're doing very well. I like.
Thank you.
Nijo. Nijo, guys. I'm telling you guys, is for the keeps. Nijo is for keeps. If we lose, talent like these guys, trust me. Most feel in gap. Rakasiwa nemang ma actors akaenda the likes of the Gringo.
Right.
And a John Banda. If I see you, you always remind me of John Banda.
A lot of people say that.
Right?
A lot of people say that.
From the character and your even your first features are you look like John Banda.
Now I don't know whether that's a compliment.
No, but John Banda was a credible one. That's true. Talent research.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Yeah.
So, you kabeli kwa kumashuro kwa chazigo review. 1991.
Yeah.
That's when you were born.
Ndakura baba. Hey.
Yeah, mdarama ndokunozi kuchembera.
Ndachembera.
Makakurira kubi.
So indakazvarwa kuHarare. I was born in Harare. Part of my childhood was in Harare. And then when I lost my parents, we moved to Chinhoyi. Natanga kugara ikoko with my grandparents.
Yeah.
From my mother's side. Yeah, so up until ndazosvika university, that's when I went back, came back to Harare.
Okay.
So yeah, basically that's what my childhood was like.
Yeah. So you lost your father in 1994 and your mother 10 years later. That was now 2004.
Yes.
When you lost your mother. Would you say life changed after you lost your dad?
Yeah, it did. But well, on losing my father, it's hard to tell because I was very young. So, when you're young, hauna zvakawanda zvaunonzwisisa.
True.
Wakasiyana nemunhu ati kure kuti unoti mudhara paangaripo taimbodai now asisipo zvakudai.
Yes.
But I did feel a gap when my mom passed on. Because ipapo now I was grade 7 going form 1. Ipapo ndopa.
Didn't that affect even your grade 7 results?
Well, no, it didn't because she passed on late in the year.
Oh, okay.
I think after the exams and everything. But I've always said I'm very grateful that I've always had a very strong support system.
Yeah.
In the form of extended family, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents. So they did their best to try and stand in that gap and not make me feel like I lost a parent. And I think anyone who is an orphan understands this, that even ukapiwa mari, even ukaita munhu anoti talk to me if you need anything, there's always that gap. That's just there. That there are moments when you feel like, I wish my mom was here. It can be during difficult times.
Yeah.
or it can actually be even in your proud moments.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
when, for instance, someone like you, when you've achieved everything you've achieved,
Yeah.
which moms
Yes.
yeah, saka shungu idzodzo dzinotombokubata dzimwe ngoti you know, I wonder what my mom would think of me vachionawo zvandakuita and stuff like that.
Perfect. And you attended Marisi Brothers, you know, in Nyanga. Uko kutoza kuti kuna vanhu vanoona mabhuku vanoona faizi kudarodaro, so wakabuda sei paform 4?
I had 9 A's, 1 B and 1 C.
Oh yeah. Mukoma nairo wachikoro zikuda 9 A's. 9 A's, my brother.
Yeah, I think it's one zvangopusa good. I just see chakakremera, but yeah. But no, Akuchikoro, Marisi Brothers, and this is now, but we had a very strong culture of study.
Yeah.
With such a strong culture of studying, it was normal to wake up during the night to study. It was normal to wake up early hours. It reminds me of a time, patantri form 4.
Yes.
Taita inonzi vacation. Yeah, you vari pa holiday.
Yes.
You'd come for 2 weeks. So vacation was open to guys even from other schools.
Yeah.
So there were certain guys who anchatauro chikoro chacho.
Exactly.
Saka vakauya vanga variwo pa vacation. So isusu takuita zvatajaira kuma4 takutomuka takutoenda kunorova mabooks. Boys rakamuka rakatora maplates rakafunga kuti kuenda porridge. Because to them it was weird.
Exactly. My book.
4 a.m.
Exactly.
But that was our culture. So yeah, I think we had a very strong culture of study, and that helped us. Yeah.
I hope those guys wakatora mamanzi maji vakazotora ma plates vakazondopasa.
I hope so.
So you then went on to study electrical engineering at the Harare Institute of Technology, but by Heat Up.
Yes, electronics.
So, what's the story really? Did you dream of being an engineer as a kid?
No,
did you just love playing, with circuits?
Nah, not even. Not even. Even today, I don't even want to see a circuit. Yeah. But what happened was, as I was growing up, I feel like our education system does not really prepare us well for life.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't fully prepare us to harness our gifts and to discover ourselves.
Yeah.
So you will find that if you ask anyone who's going to school right now, we've got 3 disciplines: arts, commercials, sciences. If you ask Kuma sciences, someone will say, I want to be a doctor. Yes. That's what they are aiming to do. Or maybe pharmacist. Kuma arts, someone will be saying, I'm aiming to be a lawyer. Kuma commercials, I don't know what's trending now, but during our time, my accountant, banking or whatever. But so when I looked at those things, I couldn't find doctor, no. Lawyer, yeah, maybe, because ndofara zvekutaura, but so what I did was, with engineering, I felt like it's one of those disciplines that gives you a lot of freedom. It's like if you study medicine, then utongofana ita doctor. But engineering, we're going to decide kuti ndoda kunoita zone in chakati, sound here, visual here, digital here, telecoms. So that was partly the motivation. I think this area might accommodate my trades and the things that I enjoy.
So after all, then you see,
Indeed. No, every day that I was in class, when I was in uni, every day I felt lost. I realized,
I felt lost.
I remember there were guys who were saying, people would be studying so hard to get a distinction.
Exactly.
I just don't want to fail.
P, 51%. It's okay.
It's enough. As long as I'm not failing.
It's okay.
Because I was not even aspiring to be the best in that field. Because nothing excited me. My circuits, my BJT, my transformer.
So then?
Yeah, eventually.
And you graduated?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. But the certificate is there.
And you've never used it?
I haven't. But I now need to collect it. I now need to collect it. No, ndakauza nondofanira kucollecta pane pandakatomboti handada kudzifambira nyaya dzacho unotora degree rangu chichichi ndandaudzwa kunzi paproject yamukaita mufinal ye munofanira kuzochisa mubhuku ndanzwa nungu
but akana
yeah, but I will go to get it one day. Yeah, I don't know for what purpose, but
for what purpose?
Yeah.
Because I think you're doing well in your space that you're in right now.
Thank you.
You're doing very well, and you're a jack of all trades, Nijo. You know, you're a rapper. How did you go from like electrical engineering to being a rapper? Employment.
No, for a long you're a rapper, musician.
Yeah.
But my friends know this. So chakaitika nchekuti I always had a strong passion for music, performing, and arts.
Yeah.
So in ndakato spend a very long time of my childhood, even into my youth, believing that I was going to be a musician. I know yangaito go yangu yoyo. And inini ola ndiri munhu wekuti kana ndirichata gwinyira kuti kana ndatinoita izvi zvokuti atoenda paYouTube munotoona masong akawanda atori nemavidhiyo neshishi. Then I just stumbled upon zvekuita maskits. So chakazonyanyondiba kumaskits was the amount of effort that I needed to put to create a video versus the amount of effort to create a song, to record it, to produce it, to have it out. Zvema videos are a bit simpler. You just come up with the concept, right? Saka yo ola, ndiwo mpurisa, yo ndiwo amai. Then you shoot a video, get it 3 minutes. Kongo edit ko zviri basic. Takutoka buritsa. So I just started leaning more into content creation until amukatobvunza unaitira music yangu kudhara hanijwe chitombotwa.
So do you still have plans of being a gospel artist?
No.
Not anymore.
No, I feel like that was just a phase. Yeah. But I do believe that at some later stage in my career, I'm going to be involved in music production. Okay. It might just be director, producer, whatever. But I've always really loved music.
So do you still remember your first skit?
Oh yeah, I do.
What was it about?
I remember my first skit. I remember the month. I remember the year. It was 2017 in April. Yes. It was in April 2017.
What was it about?
That skit was, so during the time there was a song that was trending by the late Soldier Love, Babamunini Nijo.
Exactly.
So what happened was a lot of people were just creating different renditions of the song.
I remember.
So I just thought of an idea. We were actually at church preparing for our Easter conference. So I ndakaita unge preacher ari kuparidza on the theme yokuti pamamonya ipa. Saka inenge ichinzi Samson anga ari monya. Indruda kuti upinde pamamonya ipapo. So when I actually did that, it was, when I first did it, it was a voice note. Then that voice note just went everywhere. Then one of my friends said, no, let's make a video. And I was like, initially I was hesitant because I was like, no, people would think I'm just trying to ride on somebody else's fame. Exactly. They'll not realize that it's me. So I did that video. That had a poster. Natorifana ngativhure page. Ndomusati katovhura page. Ndikati ngativhure page wakoma. Ndikati vanonakiro. Ngativhure page. So that was 2017 in April. Tatovhura page redu, tovhura YouTube yedu. I was working with the guys from my church. Some of them are now out of the country and all over.
Which church? Which church?
Zayoja. Okay. God in Faith. Yes, Zayoja. So Tovataita. Then we started doing more videos. And fortunately, the next video takavataita yakanakidza vanhu futi yanga iri yamufundisi vanenge vachinonamata kumba kwavanenge vachinzi baba anesu here oti hero rombe ratinaro baba anesu bhaibheri rinoti munosumudza marombe iri rombe riri pano, that type of thing. Then after that we did, so I was just so fortunate kuti all of the skits andakangoita katime kapo, they were well received. So inini ndisandanyatsoziva kuti zvingazondichengeta sei mari yacho iri papi,
Papi, exactly.
but ndakangoona light pazviri
Kuti zvinhu zvinenge
zvinoreva something.
Yeah.
If you're able to impact so many people in such a short space of time, it means there is a value there.
True.
You just need time to be able to unlock, which is what I always tell other people. Sometimes it's not about instantly making money. You know, Mazwano, my content creators, it's all about the dashboard.
Very true.
I've got dashboard. Monetization. It's good. It's good for you to live off your talent.
Yeah.
But what you need to initially establish is what value am I bringing into the world?
You're actually one of the first, comedians or skits, producers to then, introduce commercial, skits.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think takazo jambiro pa band racho pane vango vanga vatitange but vanga vasina kuita for too long vatanga.
Yeah.
The likes of Anam Butis Nana Keda. Yes. They had started also doing that.
Yeah.
The likes of my brother, the comic pastor.
Yeah.
Even when I started working with comic, right. Wanna tap your project. So
And you worked well with comic.
Oh yes.
How did you guys meet? And where are you now? What's the relationship like now?
Okay. So we met the first time we met. It was at a function. It was a charity event. So I was the MC and he was a guest of honor.
Yes.
That's when we met. And I was really struck by just how humble he was.
Yes.
I got, Exactly. But I went for a long time without ever calling him because in any Orlando no respect at time
Yes.
I'm not the type of person who what I say? Somebody say, just go never.
Somebody say,
I was
I get that.
Since 10 p.m.
Exactly. It's family time, my guy.
I've had a family time. That was what I would say. So I went for a long time without calling him because I felt like even if I call him, ndikati skit name, dansina kana skit racho kunyatsofunga kuti vakandiora kuti huya toita sei. So ndakangonyara then we met again at my cousin's wedding. Then he came up with the concept. Pane concept yandukufunga kuti togonaita tesa. Uyatiite. And then that's how we started working. And so he nurtured me in so many ways. He mentored me in so many ways.
Would you say he's one of your mentors?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I don't think I could ever accurately tell.
So in other words, comic pastor is a mentor to many.
Too many people.
Yeah, because I've also had a conversation with Felinandi. She speaks highly of comic pastor, saying, comic.
Because it was just under that same umbrella, that same period, where, if he sees a spark of light in you, guides you to happen. So he really did play a pivotal role.
So tell me, what inspired your stage name, The Slick Pastor? What really inspired the name?
So, Pandaita music. Ndaizviti slick, SLICK.
Yeah.
The acronym yacho yaireva semunhu aita gospel hip hop yaireva kuti simply living in Christ's kindness. So then pandakatangira ma skits, I think my first 5 or 6 skits ndaiportray a character a pastor.
Yeah.
So when I follow from music, used to know me as Slick. Slick wadi.
Exactly.
Then when I go to my skits, I did pastor. So in the
combination, The Slick Pastor.
Nigel Tha Slick Pastor. Oh, that's how it came about.
Amazing. So, when did you realize that you are this funny person?
Because sometimes everyone thinks they are funny.
True.
So maybe we'll not also reaction
yeah,
but I was always the clown, the class clown. I think chaizon save my joti ndaizogona chikoro saka ndaizogara padhuze na teachers and asingazonyaita muskanza. But I think even just from my school days, I could notice that in my interactions with people, I make people laugh.
Okay.
But I never considered myself a comedian because well, I guess I never fully understood chinotombonzi comedian. Actor. Actor chinakidza sei. Just stand-up comedy. I never dreamt of becoming one. So, yeah, but I could say during my early school days, that's when I started realizing, okay, I think Dineka funny bone.
Nijo, you are naturally fun. There are guys who are not try by all means with a
okay.
But you are naturally fun. Okay. By just looking at you, I can just start laughing right now. I'm telling you. So, as neat for you, could pretty much. I can say in a gringo because gringo need to top shotters. So I say gringo, Mdara. No, that you don't need to move to funga crack a joke.
True.
You're naturally fun, like, you know, John Banda and the like. So, you know, a lot of people, Nijo, use humor as a coping mechanism. You know, someone will be funny because, you know, they need to escape the darkness within. But also, I want to understand, were you always funny, or did humor become your coping mechanism?
Well, I believe I've always been funny, but there have been times where I've also used humor as a coping mechanism. Because I think what tends to happen, especially for a lot of entertainers, you see the people are exposed to you through this platform.
Yes.
So when they see you for 1 hour and they see you for 2 hours, they assume that 24 hours a day. Or lachero ndikasangana naye on any given day. Anokuti, welcome.
Exactly.
Yes, they don't realize, Guti, you know, this is a job. So sometimes your son could not be feeling well right now.
It's like the professor, he's not.
Serious.
Exactly, thank you.
So, but you still have a job to do. You say, no, let me go on camera. Let me get this job done. So I think one of the most difficult things for entertainers, for people in these public spaces, especially on Tajogunakidzawan, is that assumption from the world that your life is rosy, your life is perfect, you are always, you know, you're always happy. That makes the pain worse because even when you have it, nobody notices it. People will check up on everyone else. They will not check on Nigel. Because they think, Nigel, this guy is always happy. So there are moments where I've used humor as a coping mechanism. But you know, it's a imagine because unongochifila kuti I need something else. I need something more than my own humor to cope. But to answer your question in brief, yes, there have been moments when I've used humor to just carry me through the dark times.
So, Nijo, you guys formed a group of entertainers with Gamchrai Duve, Patricia, Putsai, and Nana Comic Vave. Then I knew script or I come up with my concepts.
It's always been a team effort. Because the way I wouldn't call it a group per se, but a network or partnerships or collaborations. So the environment we created, young idea kuti, everyone is free to think creatively. So you will find kuti within that family, if you notice who is in that association you've mentioned, has got their own page.
True.
They have their own platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I started working with Patricia, she would only just come to feature in my skits, feature in those skits. But we would constantly push her to vura page, vura YouTube.
Yes. You're not greedy.
Exactly. Oh, ndika vura page. Tinozofunga waita say. Wavura. But you look at them now, varikurana chinhu zvavo, gama rana chinhu zvavo. So zvataita ndezvekuti munhu akangofunga concept, ndikufunga idea yakadai. So saka Babamunini uyai mune muri Babamunini wangu uyu ndiye mukadzi wenyu.
So anenge agaya idea ndiye anenge ari muridzi weconcept.
Yes.
Ndo patinoisa video racho paplatform yaPatricia or paplatform yaNijo, whoever came up with the concept.
Exactly.
Oh, I see. And these were free collaborations. No one was paying the other to feature.
No.
Wow. Wow.
No, because zvataita ndezvekuti, well, unless if it's paid work, if Ola comes over ati ndine company yangu, if Ola comes to me oti Nigel ndine company yangu toda kuadvertise mvura yangu, ini ndo ndafunga concept yangu ndonoti concept inoda ndiri kumba kwamukoma saka irida comic, ndofona comic todaita concept yakadai so then you pay that person for that work. And then if the person goes to comic, the same thing. So it was just like having a pool of talent to pick from whenever you have an idea.
How do you come up with ideas, for a comedy skit?
Kutaura chokwadi. How inotonetsa baba kuti unyatsoziva kuti tinozomboya sei. But I think I draw inspirations from things that just happen on a day-to-day basis. Kune zvinhu zvekuti muri muchechi unogona kutongotanga ufunga kuti mufundisi izvezvo vakatanga kuti zvodi kumba kuda kufanira. What would be the situation like? Then you have the liberty to do it in a skit. Get to go, that type of thing. And then, but if we were advertising, let's say a product, what informs me on how I create is the aim of the commercial. So kuti mukauya mukati tikutengesa mvura iyi, toda kuti vanhu vazive kuti mvura iri refreshing. So inini ndakunyanyofunga along the lines of refreshment. Refreshment. How can I express that? How can I portray that picture? So that's the best way to try and explain how those concepts come about.
I see. And now you've graduated to stand-up comedy. When you started stand-up comedy in 2021, how did that come about?
It really came about from trying. Kuda kungo zvinonzi zviedzwa.
True.
Unongotry. Haungati chinhu charambe usina kumbochiedza.
That's very true.
So initially, I think the motivation for me to do stand-up comedy was it was trying to create a platform to meet with our fans. Because it's always lovely. I think you saw that when you did your tour, your podcast.
City to city.
You get it.
I remember.
That feeling, people are always watching online. My comments are chichi.
Exactly.
But getting to physically see those people, the feeling is different.
It's totally different.
So that's what I really wanted. That's what we wanted. We just wanted a platform yekuti tosangane vanhu. Munhu oti, "Hey, ndini rudo yoya akakomenta kuti amazwano manyanya Babamunini Nijo. Ndinini ngiyokusengeza." It's a beautiful feeling.
Wow.
Man. So that was the initial drive. So we started that, like you said, 2021, Chitana Comic Pastor. We did a couple of cities. But I think there's also a lot that I personally had not yet learned about the art form. Says, iri nzvimbo yanga iri nyowani kwandiri. I think I decided to really go full on after that conversation with a good friend of mine, King
Kandoro.
Kandoro, he has always been very supportive. Given the success that he's had in the stand-up comedy scene, vanhu vakawanda in that position, what they'll do is, if they see anyone trying to come up, they'll discourage.
True.
But he would sit me down and ask me, so how are you finding it? How is the show? I remember when I planned my first tour, last year. But I had planned it 2023 towards the end. We had about a phone call about 2-3 hours long.
Wow.
Actually, and ndichitanda kufunga kunyatsita tour because I feel like no, that's fine. Which cities are you planning to do? I'm planning to do Harare, maybe Gweru, Mutare, Chichichi. So why are you skipping Blawa? Because I had gone to Blawa before and it wasn't good. In Msoromangu na go cancel and Blawa and it's okay. No. Blawa is a beautiful city. Maybe pamkaita pekutanga munonyatso market show yenyu. Try to look for a strategic venue. You know what? I'm going to help you out. So when he came from the UK, the time I was doing my tour, he had planned to be doing shows around that time. But akatomira.
Yeah.
I know it won't make sense.
Yeah.
But you are pushing your own shows, and I'm also pushing mine.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be moving with you, and you don't have to pay me.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were going together, Blawayo, Gweru, Mutare. Then we did Harare. And when we went to Blawayo, he was proven right.
Wow.
The show was sold out. Beautiful. Now it's one of my favorite, cities to do.
Yeah.
Saka, I think that also really helped. In India, I don't believe Aguti. Kana kuine, there is no. In India, I don't my podcast nas.
Exactly.
And it was needs to go into Google. Don't go guarantee.
Say
because you've walked the journey.
Exactly.
You can tell me the things to avoid.
True.
Could I
That's very true.
Because I always like learning from people who've gone ahead of me.
Yeah.
It makes the journey easier. So that really helped.
So what would you say is the most challenging part of the stand-up comedy?
Most challenging part. I think it's that's an interesting question. Because for me it's not so much the performing. But I think it's the most challenging part is conquering your fear.
Yeah.
That's just the most challenging part. Because before you go on stage, you're all up in your head. You're thinking a lot of things. So I think, in all, conquering your fear.
Yeah.
Because if I say right now, like recently I announced I've got shows in Australia.
Yeah.
It's not like promise ndakatobata mari mudhara uyai. No, unongo announce wotobook venue. That takes a lot of guts because I mean
whether zvichafire zvicharamba.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Get 23 hours kuenda ku Australia ukanotaura uri wega.
Exactly.
So conquering your fears, and I think this applies across all art forms.
Yeah.
Just conquering the fear. What if it doesn't work? That is the hardest part. That part is harder than writing jokes.
Yeah.
Writing jokes is easier. Performing them is easier, especially the more you do it. Because the more you tell the jokes, the more you understand human psychology, the more you sort of understand, okay, so vanhu vanonga vanofarira nyaya idzi. Because ndaona kuti pandataura joke iri, vanhu vanga vari a bit quiet.
100%.
Ati pandataura izvi vanhu vari kunyanya kunakidzwa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so, but just overcoming that initial fear, I think is the hardest part.
I understand that stand-up comedy in zvakawanda, like scripting your own jokes before you go on stage. Do you do that?
Yes.
You script your jokes?
Yes.
Then you go and then perform?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then also sometimes in other countries, like if we look at the US and we look at the UK, those guys, they take comedy, stand-up comedy seriously. More than we do here in Zimbabwe. When I say we do, I mean not the actors, not you guys, but you ask the audience. We don't take stand-up comedy seriously the way not all Zimbabwean. And in Zimbabwean, they use stand-up comedy to express people's grievances. Like economy is fire, boy.
Exactly.
Ziga is They use stand-up comedy. Is it the same when you look at it from Zimbabwean stand-up comedian point of view? Do you see it the same, or it's totally different, or you have got fear of saying, I can't tap into this area, I'll be in hot soup, or it's just acting anyway?
Yeah. It's the same, but it's the same as everywhere else in the world, but to a lesser extent.
Let's extent.
Yeah, there's
please elaborate on that.
There's a lot of personal censorship that just goes on because before you even talk about politics, or governance, or the economy, you see, our country is so small that if I talk about you at my show, you tomorrow you'll be at my doorstep.
So
Florida.
Exactly.
New York. So, but of course, you still see that. You still see those elements in our jokes.
Yeah.
The degree to which we might talk about these things, obviously, is not
It's a bit subtle.
Yeah. It's not a But those issues, you also have to talk about them because that's what's relatable. Like I can't be telling jokes. Ndichitaura kuti, when I got into my private jet, hapasina ndatorasa nevanhu
Exactly.
some of them are struggling to even get a meal. So I can't be talking about being in a private.
So is it about when you select, what to say or on your act during your performance? Is it because of fear to say, okay, I can't say this? Or is because of your audience, which you believe, these guys are not yet there. They don't really understand the concept. They don't really understand, my art.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's a bit of both, but mostly it's about the audience. Because at the end of the day, what's the point of communicating a message that's not going to be received? So the most important thing is, if I can say something, if I can articulate a matter that people are going to immediately appreciate.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. Because with comedy, you need an instant reaction.
Yeah.
It's yakasane shoko rekuti vanhu vazati ranga riri powerful. Comedy munhu afana kutoseka ipapo. So if you want to be very deep and sophisticated, deeper than what people are willing to process.
Yes.
And remember also, people are coming to a comedy night.
Yeah.
So sometimes even when you want to be very deep with these issues, sometimes you can't be so deep with them because you don't want to weigh and depress the same people who are coming to relax. So the issue of comedy is it's not really like tawana platform yekuti taura kuti magetsi ari kunetsa. Tawana platform yekuti titongosekawo kunetsa kumagetsi.
Right.
Because tikasaseka tichachema.
Totaura
kuti chitungidza.
So if I listen to what you're saying carefully, to some extent you're saying you're a bit limited to express yourself when you're a bit limited, or rather you are limiting yourself.
Yes.
You're limiting yourself to say, okay, let's not go into this.
Limiting myself is the correct. Is the correct because ndikati we are being limited. Unonzi wakambotaurere tikakurambira. Wakambotaurere okarowa. But
you're limiting yourself.
Yes.
So by limiting yourself, don't you think you're not doing justice to your fans? Because there are some who really, who follow stand-up comedy. Remember when you post your stuff on YouTube or even these social media platforms, people from the diaspora, if you look at the analytics, they will show you that the UK, the US, whatever, these are the most, the countries that are streaming our content the most. So these guys, they understand these jokes more than probably the guys on the ground. So aren't you doing an
injustice?
Injustice, to them.
Not really, because as an artist, you have to create a balance. You have to create a balance.
Yeah.
Even as a preacher, uri kuchurch, there are certain subjects, and zvekutoti ukada kunyatsodhipisa kunyatsotaura kuti denga rakazodai rakadai unosara una vanhu 13 vari kukunzwa, handiti. Then the rest auya achingotarisira kuti wakomana konyaya yanguwo yekuti ndiri kurwara ichabatwa. Murume wangu ari kunetsa kumba wakomana, namatai mufundisi murume adzoka. Apo iwo una zvakazarurwa zvinyoka ine misoro minomwe. Watondirasa because ndiri kutsvaka basa. Saka a preacher chaiye anotoziva kuti pane pandinoita kakunosangana nemi mese. Jesu chaiye pane paanotaura mubhaibheri achiti pane zvinhu zvakawanda zvandaigona kukuudzai, but handikuudzei nekuti hapusati makusitambira. Saka hatingati akatitira injustice kusvikira audience yoyo yamachuo. Saka audience ndio inotokupusha. So when you're going to, like you mentioned, you're going to Australia, probably the jokes you did here in Zimbabwe are not going to be the same jokes you're going to do in Australia, because these guys, they've matured, so to say. I want to run away from the term rekuti mature. Yes. Vangori in a different context. Right. You get the point. But they understand the stand-up comedy side of things. They do. But the same way, even with Kunok, they might understand. But probably that's not what appeals to them. You get it? So sometimes I'm going to try but I'm not you get it? So it's not like I'm just school
exactly.
But so even when I travel, when I go outside, it's just a different context.
Yeah.
Very more mature than very more intellectual
than
I know. One thing I've discovered from the entertainment business is people are people.
When you look at Carl Joshua as a stand-up comedy,
right?
What's your take on him?
So with Nkoma Carl, I think what happened with me was I think the days he was performing steady.
Yeah.
I understand followers, but from the reports, and even from the articles I read online, the shows that he was doing, I think he was actually a pioneer in his own way.
Yeah.
That's my take.
And he used even to blast even the former president. You'd blast anyone. Anyone. But my question now, is it something that might affect you commercially, so to say, maybe today a big company like Econet, for example, they'll say, Nijo, we cannot sponsor you. Is it something that also happens with the stand-up comedy, or sponsors do also understand that this is comedy?
Obviously, kuna vangu vanotobatikana. Kuna vangu vanototi
they'll pull out.
Kuna vangu vatogara, they are not even a part of those events because vanenge vachingoti, listen, it may not even be politics. It may just be even other subjects in society.
Yeah.
Because remember, comedy is just making fun of everything.
Everything,
a comedian can make fun of death. Can make fun of a divorce. And things like that.
Yeah.
So, kune vangwana vanotongofila kuti atefi yoyo.
It's a sensitive area.
Because ko akazomuka achiti vanhu vese mauya kuno kumunopenga ini akutotitukira kamakastomeri.
Exactly.
So kune vamwe who just shy away from that, and then there are some who understand the art. But I know it's just the art. At the end of the day, if he's making these people laugh, if he's entertaining these people, then he's adding value to community.
Great. And your take on Lenmo Jongwe?
Right. No, that one is a groundbreaker because what he has done for the industry, is to also put it on the map. Because you see, kumashure ukati ndinoita stand-up comedy, ati ndo zvana gringo, kuti gringo, Kevin Hart ndiani. But mukati now tane reference yekuti mukomana uyo angari ku America's Got Talent Lenmo Jonas uyo. Zvaita paye. Ndo stand up saka zvinotongwedza kwa America.
Exactly.
Saka anga kutoina $1 million.
Yes.
Saka ita. So what he has done, anyone who succeeds in any field, that's why I don't get one dakudzikisira vanhu.
Yes.
Because if somebody succeeds in your field, what they are doing is they are adding value to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Achatarisirwe pasi.
Uri ipapa Nijo, unezvaita zvaya mupfungwa mangu chitsanangura. I like the flow of this interview. You know what? I don't know what needs to be done. There's this Zimbabwean mentality whereby we just tinogodzikisirana so. If everything is Zimbabwean, achina value. Anything Zimbabwean, achina value. Wangu mvura yakanaka ndeyekupi ndekuzoza zveku Zimbabwe. If munhu actor, achinzi uyu ndiani kunzi ndekuZimbabwe. You know, but tikataura zvemwamwe dzimwe nyika, we seem to kusimudzira vanhu vaya nechi but isusu pachedu tiine kuzvidzikisira kwakanyanya. I remember Lenmo Jongwe when he qualified ku AGT. Achina the next round, you know, instead of us celebrating, you know, his success, we were like, I say, as Zimbabweans.
That's true.
You wonder where is the hate coming from? What do you think is causing this, and what are the possible solutions?
Right. So nyaya iyoyo iri very deep rooted because problem yatinowanzoita musociety tinotry kusolve ama-problems pasurface. So imi mukauya muno matanga kunopopotera.
Yes.
Tinoda kungoti ola ngaasapopota. Hatitrese
kuti why
ola akamborerwa sei. Pamwe iye haasi kutomboti kupopota kwandiri kuita. Usati wambowanzaona vachidaro kuti ndikamutukere
ndikutaura
choonese zvachiri. Takangoti vanhu budai muno. Munhu akutoti atuka. because people never go to the root.
Yes.
So you will find that senyika yanga yakambocolonize. You must understand kuti vanhu vaiti colonizer, one of their aims dzaive dzekumake sure kuti isusu tinozvitarisira pasi, because no one will ever take mastery over you and empower you at the same time.
Yes.
So anything that I've done, that's why tikatongoita dhiri papapa rikatanga kuda kungobuda mari ndakuti murungu madii takutoti hausisiri munhu mutema kana pane mari murungu.
And that's the the trend.
Because we were subconsciously programmed to just believe kuti anything chandiri kuita inini hachisi of much value.
Yeah.
Number 2, zvobva zvawedzerwawo nekuti in some cases panobva pagadzirwa yeproduct nemunhu wemunhu yobva yafeilawo zvechokwadi yotadza kushanda.
Yes.
Handiti? Then isusu tozowana product yakabva kunze ichishanda.
Yeah.
So conclusion yedu inenge yayongoti zvemuno mashanda
zvinoshanda.
Chatesiri kuziva pane zvekunze ndezvekuti mamovie atinozoona isusu aburitswa handiwo esa akaekta.
Exactly.
Ariko mamwe akaektwa but akaonekwa kunzi haasi worth kusvika kwatiri kuno. So because we are receiving a refined product,
yes,
and kuno we are exposed to a product that's not refined. Comparison yedu manje.
Yeah.
Ndiye kungoti tiri pass. So there is that element of self-hate.
I understand.
Saka, but what I've always said is inini ndinobheliva kuti ma-opinions anoburitswa nevanhu are not a reflection of you. They're a reflection of themselves.
Yeah.
If somebody comes to your video right now, over comment, that says more about the person who is writing the comment.
True.
More than what it says about you. It says more about their state of being.
Yes.
So whenever I look at vanhu vanodzikisira vanhu stereki, ini ndinongotenda kuti inyaya ye low self esteem. So munhu ane low self esteem akaona munhu ari kumusoro anenge achiti dzoka pasi panapa tifanane.
Yes.
Dzoka tienzane.
Yes.
Handiti maona.
Yeah.
So I think one of the ways to fix that,
they call it PDS. Pull down syndrome.
Exactly. Pull down syndrome. Exactly. Yekuti dzika titese tifanane. Whereas in other cultures, vanoziva kuti if one person makes it, we have all made it. But pingo problem yacho painoitika manje ndepekuti nijoyo
exactly
azoitawo make it.
Yeah.
Akutaura kuti kuZimbabwe hakuna zvamuri kuita. Ndakazozviona kuti kuZimbabwe mukuita zvekutamba to the same people vakandisupport.
Yeah.
So that's saka it's a cycle. It's on both ends. Because now people feel like if we support you and you go high up there, the next thing you are going to dump us.
Yes.
And then uyo inini wacho ndikuita ndikufila kuti vanhu vacho havasi kunisupporta.
Exactly.
Dai vandisupporta ndasumuka. So I think, but if people individually and internally develop self-worth, anyone who feels good about themselves will always be trying to make others feel good.
True.
Ikashoma kuti usangane nemunhu ari happy, ari proud of who they are, achiita basa rekushora vanhu. Kazhinji pane munhu akandiudza kuti mweya wekushora unogara mune wakashoreka.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I agree.
Ukaona munhu achida arikuda kuti tifanane.
Exactly.
So if people work on their self-esteem, if people work on their self-worth, their self-image, if they feel better about themselves, they will also want others to feel better and support them.
Fantastic. You're doing a very good job, Nijo. And one day I wish to see you and hope to see you on the international platforms, the likes of the AGT and other biggest platforms as well.
Thank you.
Even sharing stage with the likes of legendary Trevor Noah, and many other, even Kevin Hart, like you mentioned. This is where I see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
This is where I see you.
Thank you.
Take it as a prophecy.
I receive.
Take it as a prophecy. One day you will share stage with those guys.
I receive. Thank you so much.
Right?
Thank you so much, my brother.
But I want to understand from you, Nijo, what's the biggest rejection or should I say failure you have faced in your career, and how did it change you?
Okay. That's an interesting one. How did it... Two things could be happening. Ndinogona kunge ndiri kuishaya kwete nekuti handina. but nekuti ndiri munhu wekuti I don't dwell much on zvinzvaramba sterek. Yeah, but I could say maybe okay, it wasn't a rejection per se. There's a show. Yeah, okay. There's a show I once did.
Yeah.
In South Africa. Kempton Park.
Yeah.
And then I had been told, Kempton Park.
Mazimba kawanda.
Yeah. Kana ndakatomboitawo kusvika fire chianonakidza. Baba. Tichisanganisira nesu isusu ndofunga tanga tiri 16. 16 tokunonga. Amen.
Muchisanganisira nemi.
Nesu isusu takazopefuma nemukomana anondifilma nevanhu vanga vabva kumba kwedu. Nemudzimai wangu anga aripo because titori South Africa tese at the time. Nemudzimai wangu anga ariko na mai Jazeni na Jazeni tikatobvisa ka Jazeni ndofunga 10 vanhu.
Yeah. A flop.
So ndichiona kuti hamuna vanhu kawo. Haugoni kuti kune munhu akatenga ticket chidzokera henyu kumba. Aiwa kaita touya kashamwari.
Wotongomupefomera.
But I learned one of my biggest lessons on that day. Because one of the things I remember, that show, if you ask anyone who was there, I gave it my all.
Serious?
Ndaka taura every joke.
Were you not, disappointed? Because sometimes when a disappointment, you even lose, sometimes yourself.
No, that's also the beauty of comedy now. Because the beauty of comedy is you can even start your set by laughing at that situation.
Okay.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it. Hey. Ade mama ngotaura tangoite zvidiri WhatsApp call. Dai tangogadzira group pa WhatsApp. But wakutotanga nyaya.
Yes.
But in that moment, as I started, I realized, no. Why should I be worried about people who are not here? These ones who are here because they love me.
Yeah.
And they've sacrificed their money and their time to be here with me.
Yes.
If anything, I must give them the best show of their lives. And if you ask anyone who was there, people enjoyed. Because ndakati, pane kuti munhu adzokera ane frustration yekuti kwanga kusina vanhu. Odzokera futi achiti plus kwangu chibowa. Zvino nana taura kuti, guys, makamsiko. But, the same way I perform before thousands of people, the same way I've performed in the States, in the UK, Seven Arts Theatre, Celebration, Confess on Kandor, is the same way I perform. And that's one big change that happened to me. Kuti, iwewega, that one person is as important as 1,000 people. Because munhu one atocancela zvimwe zvinhu zvese andinoenda unoona naicho. So why should you give him less of you? Because zvakafana nema ndingogara ndichikupa maexample ekuchechi. Zvakafana nemafundisa ekuti muchechi mavo mune vanhu kuti 23. Handiti?
Yeah.
Otanga kuti vamweni munoita basa rekuenda kwanhingi. Aiwa ava vatoya ava ndovako
wewe.
Chivapakazavafambira. Because vanoenda kwanhingi
avapo havana kutouya.
Uda kutsondora futi. So that's the biggest lesson I learned. And from that day, I can't really say I have a fear of low attendance.
Yeah.
Kuti ndosvika ndizota zviuraye unofe.
Yeah.
You just tell the jokes. You just give your best and you let people have a good show. So that was a defining moment in my career.
I get. So have you ever had a moment where you questioned whether, comedy was the right path for you?
No.
You've been...
No. No. Comedy as a whole. No.
So do you think, Zimbabwean comedy is truly appreciated, or do you sometimes feel like it's undervalued?
Okay. So that question, again, for me, is in two parts. Because when I look at support, I think personally in my own journey, I've been heavily supported. Zvimwe zvinotondishamisa. Zvimwe zvekutoti ndinototi vanhu vari kumbonyazoonei chaizvo zvokudaro. So ini ndinofila kunge sometimes when people see value, if they see value in what you're doing, they'll stand with you, they'll support you.
True.
But what might happen as as a whole now, as a nation, because of where we are versus the rest of the world, you will find that it's probably not as appreciated as it should be. But if you go to a doctor, they are also going to tell you the same thing. Doctors in this country are not being appreciated because basa ratukuita rakakura. Vanhu vanotamba bhora, the same thing. Tisi kunyatsa tambara mari dzakanaka. Munoziva kuti ana Krishna anotambara ma 2 million. So as a whole, not even just for the industry, tese takangodaro hatisati tasvika patiri kufanira kunge tichisvika tese. There's still a lot of room to grow in terms of how people appreciate the art.
I see. So what are some of the challenges that you have faced in the entertainment industry, and how did you overcome them?
I think one of the biggest challenges is I remember one video I was watching. It's difficult to be a great artist and a businessman at the same time. Very few people manage to do that well. Because if you want to focus on the art, art chaichai ingori pure. Art iri pure baba ndeyekuti mira muchitaura kuti toda kutenda this company yatitsigira for vanhu vangoti ola tudze nyaya
taura chete
tudze nyaya tinakidzwe anditika but you have a business to run. You've got rentals 100%. To pay, you've got a production team. So one of the most difficult challenges is balancing the delicacy of art and how delicate art and business is. The fact yekuti sometimes you meet vanhu vanoti Nijo aimbonakidza kudhara ezvinezvi vangoita maadverts zvambowa, and yet sometimes you're actually making your best effort to make sure that even advert yacho iri kunakidzawo handisi ngoyandoti tengai mvura kwaola tikutomboisawo kastori zvotonakidza handitika because unonge uchiziva kuti ndikaramba ndichingoita zvekungosekesa vanhu ngozi tazoseka nhasi tazoseka iye munhu ari kukomenta kuti advert ari kutotaipa ari kubasa kuti muri kuitire maadvert iye salari yake kupera kwemwedzi iri kupinda muri kuitire maadvert. So doing that, trying to fund your art and still remaining true to your art is one of the most difficult things. Because a sponsor can come over to the sponsor a comedy show.
Exactly.
But ndokumbura kuti musataure nyaya dzakati.
Don't kill the vibe.
So that's one of the greatest challenges. And the way I've overcome is by telling myself I've gotten as far as I've gotten because of being me. And if I'll go further, I'll only go further because of being me. So I don't have to change myself because maybe ndaona kuti mari yakunetsa saka rikaita ngoita zvakadai zviri kutrenda izvi rikaita ngoita zvakadai ndikambobuda chimhaisa musikana ndonza ndodai so I think that's the greatest challenge. Managing being an artist and being a businessman.
100%. So you have performed outside Zimbabwe many times, Cape Town, Durban, and even the UK. But let's talk about your first show outside the country. How was the experience like? Is it the one you have mentioned, Yegu Kempton Park?
No.
Okay, tell us about the first one.
My very first. I think my very first was, if I'm not mistaken, it should have been in Cape Town. So that one was also an eye-opener because but it was all because of the planning. You see, a lot of artists get discouraged and then they automatically conclude that people don't love me. Indeed, sometimes the people who love you didn't even know about the show. You get it?
Exactly.
So my first time was in Cape Town. Takaronga show yacho, but takaironga because I wasn't very sure. Comedy, saka ndakaiti comedy and motivation. Ndakatry kuzvibatanidza ndichiti pamwe kunouyawo vanhu different people and yet maybe izvozvo zvakatodzinga vamwe because anenge achinyatsoda comedy anoti uda zita motivation ndakuenda then mumwe wanenge achiri serious kuti wada zita comedy handiende but it just shaped me in because the way it shaped me is in just conquering the fear. The most difficult thing, Mdar, is that step that you did, yokuti ininda kubva kustafe. That is about it is very easy.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, the boldest part, yokuti this is what I'm now doing. And once you start, the rest is easier than starting. Starting is always the hardest thing. So because that was one of my very starting moments.
Yes.
Zvakangondipa magatsi ekuti ndakatoita ndatorekoda ndakatoita show. All right. Because kana ndawana vanhu 30 nhasi, that means if I work harder, ndikapromota zvakanyanya, next time ndinowana all 60. And for real, the next time I think we did a show there with over 120 people, that type of thing. So that's how it molded me, really.
Okay. So what has been your most memorable or rewarding moment in your career, so far?
Yeah. There are quite a lot. There are quite a lot, but I think one of my most memorable is the show I did. Zvinowanwana anotsigira kune mamwe macities anozotanga jealous kuti koyedu isusu saka ndichori kuti all of them were great. But there's a show we did in Dallas, in Texas.
Yes.
And this was my first time there. I have no big sponsor. It was just faith.
Yeah.
Yongoti tuenda kwa America. Taura neshamwari yangu Graham Makwarimba ndikati tsadzirufeni vatsvaga fenyu inopinda wangana wangani mudaro munopinda 300
exactly
fenyu rufana uzara mudaro.
Yeah.
And I would push that show. I would talk about it every day. And then when the day finally came, it was almost sold out. People came. What moved me was there were people who flew like from other states.
Oh,
yeah,
to come.
Yes.
Wow.
Indogara Washington, but Joe, it's just a drive for 4 hours.
Hey. That love,
there's nothing that
connection.
Exactly. Kuti, this person sees so much value in
me. True.
To leave everything that
100%.
they're doing.
Yeah.
To just come and watch me. Also, for me, that was like a great word. Even when we did our final show, when we did Pa 7 Arts, that love, because it was the final show after the tour, so it felt like people were coming to congratulate me.
Yes.
But we've been seeing the work you've been doing. You've done us so proud. And so that feeling, and I cannot even give it words, but just understanding that I am connected to someone's life in a very special way, to a point where someone can part with their money, part with their time, to spend time with me. And then also say, we had a very good show. Those moments have been very rewarding, and they've given me the strength to go on.
So who would you say is your role model, or would you say, I look up to this guy when it comes to comedy?
Right. So when it comes to stand-up comedy, I used to be a very big fan of Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey ndainyanyomfarira nyaya yekuti pane kaunka balance kaanoita ke-comedy neku-inspire vanhu. So I would see a lot of myself in that, because I always maintain that element as well. Then also there's obviously Kevin Hart, because of the business aspect.
Yes.
Because when it comes to business, there's no comedian on this earth who has sold as many tickets as that guy has.
Kevin.
Yes. And he's such a hard worker. Kevin Hart will be having a tour and having a book coming out and having a movie in the same year. So, sometimes it's patently busy. So, nekuita tumaskits this week ndakaneta ndamboshuta.
Yatonyora book.
Yofunga kuti but mufeso yatotaura ndaburitsa book. I thought I'd watch out for my movie coming out in June. And at the same time, he's on tour.
Yeah.
So that drive, that determination, I think it's something to be emulated.
So you're now a NAMA-nominated stand-up comedian.
Oh, yeah.
And how are you feeling about it, about that recognition?
I feel funny because I was not even... was not even expecting it, you know.
Yeah.
I feel funny. I remember someone I can text it because I think they were watching the live stream. Abandi text it. Congratulations on the NAMA nomination. You know what? Ndakafunga kuti maybe my skits. Ndofunga ndezvo skits.
Exactly.
Because in that field suddenly kutombozverenga semunhu
exactly.
Then after that my friend Kandoraba antumira akati hoyo apo tese we are nominated to that category.
Wow.
So it's a special feeling.
So muri tupa same nomination yo awina
takangoti you know it's that's too chete. There's also our brother Mbongeni.
Okay.
He's from Blawa.
Exactly.
We've actually worked together when we do our Blawa shows. But takangoti either way chini chiri kuya kudeni. Azina basa kuti
exactly.
It's really, I think to us it's just that notice and recognition.
Yeah.
Yekuti okay. So you guys are doing this, all right? We notice what you're doing, and 100%. You know, just that nomination speaks volumes about. So
you have expanded, you know, Nijo, beyond comedy,
right?
And you're also into acting and film production. You have mentioned earlier, I see myself, you know, doing something behind the scenes, you know, in the future. But you have also produced the series such as Babamunini Nijo in 2020. You know, that thing. That was amazing, man.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful. Sekurupuro in 2021. Then The Crossroads, and now Pane Rupisa, The Chosen One.
Yeah.
How did you get interest in film production?
Yeah, I love telling stories. So when the moment I realized that I've got a platform to tell these stories, I vowed to myself that I'll use it. So you will find that with The Chosen One, it's an idea that I've had for the last, I think, 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when the idea first came to me. Yakuti, you know what? I want to tell this story. Because I've seen some things that happen in the church that are misinterpreted by people in the world. Which is true.
Yeah.
But what that series tries to do is it tries to go behind the scenes. Some of the people are vakatongomuka vakadaro here pane zvinoitika kwavari here mwari wawacho anoti chiinazvo and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I really love storytelling because I feel like that's my opportunity to share my viewpoint with the world. Yeah.
So The Chosen One, I think that series will be it's a hit.
Thank you.
It's a hit. That
people are loving it so far.
What inspired the production of The Chosen One?
I think it's basically my faith background. Isusu tirana boys wangokurira muchechi.
Yes.
Ngorana boys wekuchechi, my brother.
Yeah.
So as a result, there are things that I've observed happening in the church. Zvandinoona kuti pazvinozobuda kunze.
Yeah.
Vanhu zvavanenge vachifunga ndo maitikira zvaita.
Yeah.
You know, pamwe panoti nenda kuchechi wakapuza zitereki. Vanonzi kuti mungabirwe chichi. Aiwa. Ndoda kuti kuratidza iprocess.
Yeah.
Yekuti munhu ukazoona kunzi asiya $10 yana haangomuka osiya pane zvinenge zvamboitika kwaari
before
maibata. So I'm really trying to demystify that. That's my aim. I wouldn't even want to call it I'm exposing the church. I don't know. The church is my family. If there are things I'm not there to expose, you know, the world knows whatever it knows already. Yeah. But I'm just trying to explain, to show the humanity irimo muchechi. Kuti pakamuka pachinzi Pastor Ola watora mukadzi wemunhu handitika. Kune mumwe anongoti taizviziva ndo zvaagara achiita. Apo pamwe ndekekutanga pamwe munhu atodonhawo aritokumbira nyasha pamberi paMwari Mwari ndiregererewo ende Mwari obva watomuregera panyika isati yamuregera. So I feel a very deep burden to share those topics with the world. I think that's where the drive came from.
And what drama series would you recommend for the first time? You know, if one has never watched your work.
But it would have to be Babamunini.
Babamunini Nijo.
That one. Akaona Babamunini Nijo. Yeah, no, it was a very interesting production. Yeah. It was a game changer, yeah.
So what do you do when you're not creating content? Any hobbies, passion, you know, outside comedy?
Indofarira kunge ndiri paden. Ndichitamba nemwana. Ndichitamba namadam. I'm mostly at home. Playing FIFA. Nekutamba FIFA.
Like you say, you read Dan na madam. These days, you post your wife, Kakawanda. We always see you.
These days,
we always see you. We always see you around with your wife.
Yeah.
How is it being a family man, a businessman, a comedian? You want to go on a tour,
right?
Madam Arosala Dan,
right?
Uchada kudzoka pa den pane zvikudiwa zvepamba uda kuenda kubasa,
right?
The balance.
The balance is very difficult. But once you attain it, it's also very beautiful.
Yeah,
it's also very rewarding because I think we're still at that stage of our lives, you and I.
Yeah.
Where we are trying to build something for our families.
Yeah.
You're trying to build something in 10, 15 years. The little madondos varipo right now.
Yes.
Vanozoti mutaredo akagadzira ichi neichi.
Yeah.
So that means kuti hauna mukana wekunyatso relax astere. Kuti ndorwa podcast chichichi.
True.
But when you make those efforts and they start paying off, ndamboti shande.
Yeah.
Mai wabva ati mukaka chichi wazodayo wapa mari inokwana kuita izvozvo.
Yes.
Otondoda umborukwa musoro wapa mari inokwana izvozvo. You feel fulfilled. But at times it's tricky because sometimes people just want your attention. Because I think the difficult part is, when you're creative, aunama waking hours. So I could be at home, but I'm not at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sometimes I actually fight with my wife over that. Chimova pafona.
Yeah.
Because ndiripo pandokufunga panozoda kutarisa kuti
zvifamba sei.
Ndozoita sei ka concept aka.
Yeah.
That type of a thing. So it's a very delicate balance, but it's fulfilling. Ukakwanisa kungoi.
Vazozvinzwisisa here manje mai mari tinyu kuti panapa baba kana pafoni nguva yawo zhinji ndezvebasa vari kumboda kuona zvakamira sei.
Havanozinzwisa, but women are women. Vakona kuzinzwisa. But women will be women.
But plus kokuchengera havasi kunyanya kuchengera bozi munodiwa nemafanzi mudara.
Kwete kudiwazvo kuzodiwa.
Zverudo chaizvo munodiwa.
Kana vanongoda zvemalikes. Ndezvemalikes.
Komunogoti zvemalikes.
Hapana tambo angave ariko.
Atambo yatsaya kuti Nijo.
Wakati handitore.
Ausambopimwa Nijo ndokuda.
Hansat. Hansat.
But ukanzwaro unoimba nechosei.
Ndochema. Cry.
As in Docheva.
I think my wife has managed that very well, but she has never expressed.
Yeah.
Kuti zvoni ibva ipapo kana kuti ndiani aroda picture. Sometimes tinotosangana nevanhu variko vamwe kuti if they see me walking with my wife vanotanga vamhoreso mukadzi kuti muri sei sori takumbokudisebira munhu wenyu ngatorei picture. Then vamwewo vanongovatora picture so but generally speaking I've not had problems dzekuti ndingazonzi kuanniversary kwaoleko kwaenda
Okay, so what legacy do you hope to leave behind in Zimbabwean entertainment and beyond?
The legacy of spreading light, love, and laughter. That's my burden. That's my passion. What inspires that theme, light, love, and laughter, is apart from making people laugh, the light aspect in the dissemination of knowledge. I like to entertain. I like to see vanhu vachiseka vachita sei.
Yes.
But I enjoy it even more when people are enlightened, when people discover something new.
Yes.
So you find that even if you go through my page, unotosangana nerimwe video rotunoti kasa hachaita zvecomedy mvezvo. Because ndenda ngonzwa mandiri kuti ayo iyi nyaya yoda kumbotsiurwa, iyi nyaya yedepression yoda kumbotaurwa, nyaya self-esteem yoda kutaurwa. So that aspect of light, and then love for one another, and also love for God and love for what you do. But if you are gifted in something, love that thing. because that's the assignment that God has given you. So if I'm to be remembered for anything, it would be spreading light, love, and laughter.
So if you could give one piece of advice to young people who are trying to make it in the entertainment industry, what would it be?
My advice would be true to yourself. Because if you are true to yourself, you will not lie to yourself. You will not waste time doing something that you are not created to do. Because the challenge in the equity, when something becomes popular, everyone wants to start trying to do that thing. And then they neglect
Yes.
But when you're true to yourself, when you understand yourself and who you are, you will not be blown away by that wave. Because you know your lane. Stick to. So the advice is simple. Be true to yourself and put God first.
Okay. In 2023, you welcomed baby Malachi into the world.
Right.
It's been almost 2 years now. So how has been fatherhood?
Fatherhood has been great. Fatherhood has been amazing because it has taught me so much about myself that I didn't realize. I didn't know that I had so much love. So much love to give. Well, the moment you have a child, that's when you realize how vulnerable you are. Ndinogara ndichifunga teacher wedu vaitidzidzisa English tiri kuhigh school. I remember one day vachiti zvoni ameno example yavaida kupa vabva vati saka if someone comes obva ati sarudza kuti touraya ani, touraya mukadzi wako here kana touraya iwewe here kana touraya mwana.
Exactly.
We were just informed anouraya mwana because mwana tinozoita
mumwe. Exactly.
He just laughed wakati pamuchaita wana muchazviona.
Exactly.
And now every day I see it. If I were to die for that boy, I would not even think twice. It's not even a decision. So that selflessness, reminder even also the love that God has for me.
Yeah, true.
Because there are moments in life that we go through tichifunga kuti inini Mwari havanyatsondida kana kuti inini ndakambobhaisa stereki zvokuti Mwari havachandidi. But ndofunga kuti uyu mwana uyu wandinoda pasina chaambonditi. Izvezvi haatanyatsoziva kuti ndini baba wake, anongoti munhu anogara panapa tinongogara tese handiti. But ndinomuda zvakangodaro, haana anything chakanaka chaatambondiitira kuti ndazosvikawo rimwe day bhutsi dzangu dzakapolishwa now I love my son. I just love him because he's my son. So inini izvozvo zvakatonditeacha something about the love that God has for me. Kuti saka Mwari every day, because I cannot be better than God. Kuti inini kana ndine rudo rwakadaro kumwana wangu, what more Mwari pachati vakanditarisa. Every day pawanomuka vakanditarisa, this is how he feels. He feels excited. Kuti I have my son Nigel. Undikamudzwa achichema ndinotomhanya kudoti aita sei chii all right. So that means even God attends to my cry. Akatonzwa ndakutochema patinechiti Mwari ari kupi kwawandirasa. It's never like that. So those are some of the lessons that I've attained from being a father.
Great. So let's talk about these stories I have never told world tour.
Right.
Irutangira kupi madetsa kamera say, I saw a post, you said my tickets acho akutopera sekutamba sekuseka. When is it,
So it's starting on the 5th of April. It's starting in Australia.
Okay.
Ku Melbourne.
Then wakutofamba nenyika chama ngine comedy.
Tezitodya makangaroo baba. Roasted kangaroo. Saka tenti ku Melbourne on the 5th, on the 6th we're going to be in Sydney. Then on the 12th we're going to be in Perth. And we announced this show, I think, pangoni about a month. But I think my tickets are Perth as I'm speaking right now. I think they're left with like 24.
I've got so many friends in Australia. I'll try to pass the message and say, guys, go and support. I've got my best friend there, Wendy Musiarira.
Wendy.
Ana Chido Tsodzai. These are my friends in Ana Dr. Tsodzai wacho futi murumo wacho ana Chido. These are my friends, we talk every day.
Yeah. Please make sure.
And also those who are in New Zealand, they're next door to Australia. They just say ikungupinda muningije
wongoya
kutosapota Nijo.
supporter. Yeah,
Exactly,
Saka, I'm going to move from Australia. Then we're going to have our Harare one on the 25th of April.
Yeah.
Then we go to South Africa, then the UK in June, then August, Poland, the United States, then to Vatadzu.
Mune makatopedza mavisa zvese kudaro. Wow.
Yeah, tatongozifambira nyaya.
Kawana. This is good. So what are your expectations ahead of this tour?
My expectation is that people are going to come through in their numbers and experience something they've never experienced before. Both those who have attended my shows before and those who have never been to my shows, they are going to be mind blown.
Yeah.
They can ask those who've been to the other shows.
Yeah.
But this is also going to be personal. Like the title says, stories I've never told.
Yeah.
What actually inspired that is I also have a book coming out.
Okay.
The book is coming out in March.
Yeah.
So there are some elements in that book that I'm going to be sharing also even in my jokes.
Yes.
There are some very personal stories. The other story when I was being reminded by my wife,
Exactly.
But those are the things that people want to hear because I feel like this is a season for me to connect with the people who support me at a deeper level.
Yeah.
So these are the stories I've never told. So people are going to see, I think, also a side of me they've never seen before.
This is amazing, Babamunini Nijo. Before you go, maybe I want to ungotipa ma parting remarks. Probably kana zvikwanisika wotipa ka stand up comedy beat. Usati waenda.
Because mukati hazi ndi iro comedy. Imimi oneza muri kuita oya. Zvakafanana nekuti uchingofamba munzira. Ona chimbotipo ka trending story. Chimbotipo hani. Chimbotipo hayo kana mukasangana na jam road.
Exactly.
Muti
Ro. You also need time, right? And ndaloseka futhi so. Zvatovaya. So how can people get in touch with you?
Right. So those who like to get in touch with me for any business, you can visit our website. My website is all the information, www.theslickpastor, theslickpastor.com. So that's where they find all the
everything
info,
is there.
all the emails and phone numbers.
Great, Baba Nijo. I remember the very first day I met you. Do you remember where we met?
Yes.
Where?
Batanai Gardens.
Batanai Gardens. Yeah. I thought you forgot.
No. I remember.
I remember. That was the first time meeting Nijo, guys. Batanai Gardens.
2018.
Yeah. I was the MC there. Na Chester. Na Chester. Yanita Mark Chester. I get traveled on tours. Yeah. We go Dubai. So I think you guys, I assume my was in Dubai before, right? Was used to say in Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah. But Dubai you can also
baba ndakambogara kudubai ini hazvina kundifambira zvakanaka vamwe vanoendawo zvinoitira ndakaenda kudubai ndokubva ndati garei basa ringawanike ndabva razowanika but zvandanga ndaita manje nekuti ndaida rutsigiro nevamwe kuti ndiende kudubai.
Exactly.
Kuno kuna ndatobva ndaodzana kuti basa
ndatoita
saka uku unoenda manje une visa ndakaenda nevisa re3 months visitors visa.
Yeah.
So uri kufanira kumeka sure kuti unowana basa pa3 months
izvo
because rika expire
auchakwaza
pa 10. Uku kugeto vanhu vari kuti
ari Dubai
agobanaka posta mapicture uri pa Burj Khalifa
uchitorako Ferrari vari kupisa uyu
wafane mari mugomana wasiri kuziva kuti ndiri kutotsvaga kuti anganditumirawo mari kuZimbabwe. I remember one time when I was so stranded to the point yekuti so kuti Dubai vanenge vaine mamall avainawo mune mashops let's say emafoni. Saka ukapinda muApple store kana muSamsung kune mafoni anenge ari padisplay because inini foni yangu yanga yafa.
Exactly.
Yanga yafa ende payanga yafa baba yakafa ndabva kuinterview. Interview yanga iri promising kuti ndinowana zvakanyora namba dzako apa. Was anga ari muIndian face yakati Nacho, where are you from? Ndati Zimbabwe. Oh, Zimbabwe good cricket. Ukango kuDubai ukangotaura Zimbabwe cricket. muIndian out Zimbabwe good cricket. You know Andy Flower. Exactly. Utotongochati hadi mukoma wangu. Saka ndobva ndanyora namba paya. We'll give you a call. Dzokera padate. Ikangodzima. Kusaisa pachaja. Utongo charitsenga zvaramba mudaro. So what do I do? Ndakuda mari kutenga imwe phone. Haukwanisi kuudza mhuri kunoku because vanhu vari kutoti hey, wana right
ari Dubai.
Ndanga kufunga ndodina. Ndanga kufunga shamwari dzangu dzese dzandaifunga kuti dzinenge dziri parinari. Ndikati arike ndifunge ndikutanga kuremember kuti ninga ari kuAustralia, ninga ari kuCanada, ninga angazondishaira. So zvandaita handina foni ndicommunicate. Ndaifamba mumo. Ndapinda mumo ndaenda mushop. Saka pane mane mafoni anenge ari padisplay. Ekuti muone mafeatures ozotenga. Ndaenda ipapo ndanologa in paFacebook. Ndotosecha kuti Ola ndobva ndatikisa
mafoni yayo.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Ola ziri sei Nijo kamwari hapana kutombomirira zvakanaka izvezvi ndiri kuDubai handina kana chekudya mari yerenti handina ndiri kufunga ndingangowanawo mari yekuchichichichi kana uchikwanisa kunitumira $200
nditumire
madetails angu eWestern Union omva ndabuda tanga kuraka round kangu ndopinda mune imwe mo
kuti ona message yadairwe.
Exactly.
Kuti message yadairwe.
Kuti message yapindurwe. Ndikazorangarira one guy anonzi Deeds Funani. Ndakamwana my first days ndichingosvika kuDubai. Anga andona because ndatotanga zvemaskits.
Exactly.
So some people would recognize me. It was like, as you say mkoma chichi.
Exactly.
Tinonzi Deeds chichichichi. Ndinogara kunoku chichichi ndoshanda kwakati. So if you ever need anything, musiwo ndopa ndikati anything here ndakuita. Ndakarangarira star rake ndikati search paFacebook ndikati mukoma ziri sei. I remember mchiti kana ndikazonidawo anything
ndokubatai
anything ndakuita uko. Akanditumira mari mfese akanditumira $300. Which is like mari inoguma $90 somewhere there. Saka $300 yaikwana kutenga kafoni.
Ukandaa parinani.
Atengawo kafoni tanga kucommunicate navanhu. Imwe shamwari yangu ndandataura naye ari kuSouth Africa anditumirawo nocoverend. So basa ndakazorwana rakaoma basa iri. Inini mabasa emaoko aya ndosaka tichiwandira kumuromo. Mabasa emaoko
ndizvinokunetsa. So you would never work in construction.
Zvigoni. Inini baba ndakasvika pakuti sekuru musiwa is a master farmer. Kumunda vainditi asara zvako muzukuru. Vachenda nemunin'ina wangu. Vaiti handeitanaka inoti aiwa sara zvako. Vaiti uya anotipedza simba. So saka ndo basa racho rari hard.
Rirei.
Taishanda mu textile factory. Saka pane mango machira so anozoiswa muchibhuku anozoita sei. So ranga ri basa rekuti haripere. Harisi basa rekuti unoti harigendere fast. Anenge akakwira kusvika kumachira uchinhonga one by one uchimaunganidza uchidai so. I remember my second day pabasa iroro. Because taitanga na 8 a.m. tichipedza na 7 p.m. 11 hours of working. I remember second day rangu basa ndakatsvaga kakona kanga kasingasvike CCTV ndanorara pasi petable ndikaseta alarm dzanga dziri kuma 9 ndakaseta alarm na 9 ndakaseta alarm ya 9:05 ndaidongorora 5 minutes ndangolinda 5 dzekuti
ndibikane
ndokuoma kwazvanhu zvakaita. Then one kufambawo kwetime company yacho hainazonditira visa rangu zvazotodhakwa ndo handitodzoka saka ndakatodzoka ndito nedepression iri serious. I was seriously depressed zvekutopinda muhospital cha zvekutoti ndakuita mamigraine headache ndakuita sei because at that time makuita ndiite stories I've never told.
Exactly.
So saka for me it didn't work. It was just but when I look at my life now I'm happy that it didn't work. Because
now because
if I had found some sort of comfort there pabasa papo zvanhu zvakaita nditambira kamari kako kandaitambira I would have miscarried my destiny. Pampa kutoita mukana wekutoita miscarriage yedestiny yangu ipapo. Saka kubenda kwaita zvinhu Mwari
aitaura newe
vachitondiredirect kune zvinhu zvekuti at the time uchizvitarisa zvitonge zvakashoreka kuti kumboita nezvemaskits izvozvi engineer sure
exactly
but ndikatarisa nhasi ndinotenda Mwari zvikuru
family wise uchitanga maskits havana kunyanya kuzvishora kuti uri engineer
kana vakazvishora havana kuzvishora kufesi kwangu vamwe vaizvishora
behind
ndabva but because I think chinhu chakandibatsira chanchi chekuti kuchikoro ndaenda
exactly
so degree ndandinaro so I guess in their minds they were like see hanya aite zvaari kuita kana zvikaramba chikoro
anacho
so that's the one thing I made sure of I made sure that I completed that degree. It was purely for political reasons.
Yes,
yanga ingori nye family politics kuti sazonzi akasira chikoro panzira akuita zvemadrama I know kuti pressure yacho
nasingaikwanisa
so ndakameka sure kuti ndapedza zvekuti ndinongoti ndikutotsvaga basa ndikushaya ndifana kuitawo zvangu zvemadrama.
My brother Nigel Maritinho, thank you so much for coming to the All podcast.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here. Na ndakangomirira mukana wangu ndokutendai mazondipa mukana
wakwana mukana wangu
dzangu dzapera
wakafanana na Masha Minutes wakamboudzwa namwe munizvo Masha Minutes jeje akutambira ku Wolves ga
asaka ndafana
wakafanana
but now that you've mentioned
it makafanana I want you to go back and look. Utore picture Masha Minutes what's up.
No, but you know kuti munhu agoni kuona kufanana kwakaita nemwe munhu.
Serious?
But
makafanana.
Serious?
Makafanana.
At least but akana manifananza nemunhu anotambira Premier League.
Exactly. Ukupisa. So thank you so much to all our viewers for watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed watching Babamunini Nijo mchinyatsonzwa story yao, you know, from my early days up to where he is now, and he's doing very, very, very well. And also to those warikundana Australia, New Zealand, wherever Babamunini Nijo is coming, let's go out and support our own talent, our own people from Zim, you know. Tichingoti aiwa basa rienderere mberi. My name is DJ Olo7 Owen. We're Kwamadondo on the spot. Until next time, and also many thanks to the team behind the scenes. Kwanas, bye bye.